JBOM has always emphasized the goal of achieving environmental friendliness without triggering the malfunction indicator lamp (MIL). So how was it designed? JBOM has been in China for 12 years, and this slogan has remained unchanged throughout. In these 12 years, we have persisted in our design philosophy, and today we will unveil it and share it with everyone. When designing the header section, we first examine the OEM, original equipment manufacturer, design. This is the OEM header section for the AMG GT53/50 with China 6B emission standards. As you can see, it is large, bulky, and heavy, with multiple pipes and numerous openings. In China 6A or even China V standards, there are only one or two sensors, namely the upstream oxygen sensor and the downstream oxygen sensor. They are responsible for monitoring this section, while the rear section is usually not monitored and lacks the additional components found in the front section. Now, in China 6B, why were so many openings designed? Many people were initially intimidated by the complexity of China 6B standards, and this was true for all component manufacturers. With so many openings and sensors, how do we deal with it? We were also fearful when we first encountered this. Why is it so difficult to handle the upstream and downstream oxygen sensors, and now there are even more complex components? What do they represent? To design a good header section, the most important thing is to understand what the OEM intends to achieve. You need to understand the OEM's logic. If you don't understand the OEM's logic, you are just blindly working on it. Currently, all aftermarket header sections only know what these openings are for, but they don't know the operational logic behind them. So, when we started working on the China 6B header section, we went deep into understanding what the OEM intended to achieve. The ones I mentioned earlier are the upstream oxygen sensor, the downstream oxygen sensor, the upstream pressure difference pipe, the downstream pressure difference pipe, and the temperature difference pipe. Why do we need these components? These are related to the particulate filter, as it now requires monitoring. Previously, there was no such requirement, and there was only the three-way catalyst and the rear three-way catalyst. Now, this rear section of the header has become the particulate filter. As we mentioned in the previous episode, the function of the particulate filter is to absorb carbon particles. Because it absorbs these carbon particles, China 6B has specific requirements for them, so monitoring is necessary. Therefore, the design of the JBOM header section takes into account these requirements and incorporates the necessary components to ensure compliance with emission standards. It is important to understand the OEM's intentions and operational logic to develop a header section that meets the required specifications.